Hello, so this is the Animaquina tutorial for KUKA. In this case, this is Blender. First of all, you need to install Animaquina, edit preferences. Make sure that Animaquina is installed. In this case, you can see here that I have the latest version. Sometimes you'll get these warnings. They're okay, no problem with that. Now, the important thing here is that in your N panel on the 3D view, pressing N or pressing this arrow here, you should be able to now find Animaquina here. Now, for now, I'm gonna enable the screencast. This is so you can see what I'm pressing. So now every time I press a letter, it should appear in the screen. All right. So we go to the Animaquina panel in the N panel, or opening it here. And the first thing is we need a robot. So for that, we go to the robot registry. We create a robot, KR10 is my case, and this is the 10-1000. And I'm gonna add a robot. Now, we need a robot object now. This is not automated yet. So the first thing I'm gonna do, well, I'm gonna delete that cube. So select an X. And now I'm gonna go to the asset browser. And then from here, I can go to my robots. Or if I have not installed the assets in the asset browser, I can go to file, import, file, append. And then in file append, it would be finding the robots file that is actually zipped in your, it should be zipped in your release. So for example, in my case, if I go to Animaquina, assets, robots, you need to find this file. It's part of your zip if you extract it. Now remember that to install Animaquina, you don't need to extract it, but then you need this file. So if you go to File, Append, Robots, then here you go to Collection. This is very important that you append the collection. And now you find the robot that you want. In my case, I'm going to use the KR10R1100 number 2. I import it. You can also drag and drop for here. Just make sure that it's set to append. All right, now that the robot is there, uh, the first thing I'm gonna do is you need to make sure that you have in the collection, in the robot collection, you need to have multiple things. First is the base. The base is this empty here. Well, right now it's disabled. Is by default I disable the robot so you cannot select it and move things around. You can see here that it's disabled by this button. But now I can select things. So what I want to do is just really quickly explain what this is. The base is kind of the base of the robot, the parent of the robot. So if you want to move your robot around the scene, you have to move the base. And then this will make sure that when you export any program, the kinematics are correct. If you move this object, you are applying an offset to that base. So my advice is don't do it like that. Always move it from here, and then you'll see when we move the if the robot has a base selected, it should automatically offset once we connect to it. Anyways, just remember, move the base. The base is an empty, you can see it here. Now you should also have the target and the TCP. The TCP is something that's always reading from the robot. So that's where your robot is at all times. So you cannot move it actually. Once you connect to the robot, it keeps updating. So it's gonna be reading from your robot directly. What else? We have the target, which is where we're gonna be moving the robot, right? The TCP is where it is, the target is where we want it to go. So let's go ahead and just connect to the robot. So I'm gonna go to Setup, Universal Robots, I'm gonna select KUKA. Very important, here I'm gonna select my robot collection. Here you go. You can see it's named like the robot. And then I'm gonna select KR10 and put Set KUKA Access. This is very important or it might have weird rotations on it. Now, the next thing is I need to put an IP address. You can look at this in your robot, 192.168.1.147 is my case, but this you can see in the robot properties. Now, I can click connect now, and you can see that now the TCP came to the flange because I have no tool selected, so the TCP matches the flange, and it's here. So that one, I cannot actually move it. If I move it, it goes back to that position. The target is still there. We haven't moved anything. And the base is still where it has to be. Now, my advice is that you take the target, move it out of the collection to the main collection here, so that you can lock this robot collection again. And that way you cannot, by mistake, select something you're not supposed to, only the target, right? So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna select my target here, and select my target. And we're literally done with the setup at this point. Now let's go to control. For KUKA, it's important that the first thing you need to be doing is running the Animaquina dynamic sync program. In order to do that, you can go to advanced streaming, and then you say upload dynamic sync here, and then this should have uploaded everything to your robot. If you go to select, it should have selected that program. Now, how can we make sure that this is true? I'm gonna go to my virtual remote pendant in KUKA to show you. It's connecting right now. I'm here. And you can see that right now we're actually running the Animaquina program, right? So you have some controls here to upload and select the program. You can also stop it at any point. But anyways, my advice is that the first time that you try Animaquina, you do it in T1, in manual mode. We enable the drivers. Cool. And now we can go to enable here and then press play here. So if everything's good, remember in my case, I can do this because I have the automatic pendant, so it sticks these things. But if you're doing this with your pendant, you need to be pressing the play button all the time. So now I'm gonna go back here. I can select I can go back to control here. And I'm gonna say, first I'm gonna select this little magnet. What this is gonna do is gonna align the target to the TCP. And you can see that it moved it here. So now I can select the target. I can move it down a little bit. And then I'm gonna say move to target. That should move your robot. And again, very important, we're in T1, so you should be pressing play and with the enable switch going. Now, if you go now to start puppet mode, you can do that. Start puppet mode, and then you can grab this, type G, and you can see right now it's very slow because I'm in T1. So the robot is taking some time to move to the position, but it's there. Now I'm gonna go back to automatic. Don't do this unless you know what you're doing. I suggest the advice is that you go in T1 most of the times. So I'm gonna stop pressing play, disable the enable, and then I'm gonna go to automatic mode, press play. The program is running now, and if you look here, if I press this, now the robot is a bit faster. And if you're looking in my screen now, you should be able to see the physical robot also moving and kind of moving with that. So puppet mode is gonna do this, meaning that now you can literally animate this target object and the robot will follow accordingly. I'm gonna stop puppet no more for now, and I'm gonna add a basic toolpath. The first thing is make sure you're not on the robot collection, because if not, the objects are gonna be selected here. So select another collection, and then with Shift A, I'm gonna add a mesh circle, and then I'm gonna put this in a comfortable position for the robot. That's too big, so I'm gonna scale it down. Again, this is just a test. I'm gonna put it right there. That looks comfortable for my robot. So I'm gonna kind of move it in there. And then I'm gonna click Run Toolpath. So you can see that the robot goes to the first point and then starts performing that. And what we're actually doing is that we're sending all these targets in a queue. If I move this up, the robot should actually move up after a certain amount of points. It will compensate once the queue is over and go back. Now, if you see, if I move my target up, move it a little bit up, move to target, and then I tell it, do this toolpath again, run toolpath, first of all, is that the robot right now it's keeping the same orientation as the target. So this is just to make it easy that you can align it if you're going to keep one orientation along your toolpath. That way it's an easy way to just click run toolpath and it will be good. A good advantage of this is that now it doesn't matter if you have millions of points, you're only streaming 5 points to the robot. So it should help. I have not stress tested, but again, I have also not, it has not also failed to me yet, but I have not run a million points yet using the run toolpath here. All right. If you want to configure that run toolpath, you can go to motion settings. Here you can see that it's going to interpolate with linear movements. You can change that to point to point. Here you set your velocity, both for your linear movements and your joint P2P. It's very important to know that the first movement from the target to the first point of your toolpath is going to be point to point. So it's going to go point to point from the target to the first point, perform the toolpath, and go back. And of course, it's not going to close it. Now, if you're going to close it, I'll be doing some tutorials on making toolpaths for closing, spiralizing, slicing, things like that. But for now, this is just for setup, so I don't want to go too much into that. Now, something I can do, for example, I go into edit mode, Shift D, C, and I'm gonna do this a couple times. So now I can actually run the toolpath again, and you can see that because the first one was this one, the top one, then the second one is gonna be the bottom one, it should be following up in the right order. You can analyze that order by selecting your mesh, going into the changing one of your viewports to spreadsheet, and here you should be able to see all the positions. Very important that these positions are sent to the robot on the base um, frame. So this might not match what you might think, but that's the local on the origin of the toolpath. But Animaquina Automática applies that offset, so you don't have to worry about that. And you can see we're in the third toolpath. You can see that it's actually going to every point. You can see the precision there. It's visiting every single point. Cool. If you want to export an offline program, you can do so by going into export. Here you can select your base and your turn number. You can have per point orientation, but that means that you need to add the attribute to your points. If you don't know how to do that, I'll be doing some tutorials on that. Again, that's beyond this tutorial. Now, you can set a custom orientation. In this case, I'm not gonna leave it as 0, 0, 0. Very important that you set it to whatever you want to start. So I can set from current. This is gonna read this orientation here, and it's gonna export all the points with this orientation. Here again, you can configure your different settings for the program. And this one is where the robot is going to start. You can also change your robot home. Don't do that unless you know what that's doing. But usually what the robot is going to do, go to your home robot, setting your robot, then it's going to go to the home that you set here, and then it's going to perform this toolpath. You can also store that home of the robot if needed and change it. So that way you only have one home and you don't do those two movements. Anyways, again, that will be maybe talked about later on. And again, once you click export program, you can actually go ahead. First, we need to cancel the current program right now because it's there. So this should have canceled my program. Let's come here. I'm going to stop the program and cancel the program. You can see that it canceled my program. Now I'm going to export these as KUKA test. You can see right now that I don't have that program. It's going to be stored in my programs folder. So I can export the program first. This is going to save it internally in Blender on a text editor. So all I did here is added a new window in Blender, and then you can see that if I go to KUKA test, here's my program. You can save it here, text save, and then take it to your robot on a USB, or you can set here stage to robot, and this should have actually saved the program in your robot and saved it. and yeah, set your robot and save it. Then you can actually, for example, set run program, and you can see that the robot is going to start. Go to home. We gotta go back to the pendant. Click run again, and you can see that our robot is now running the program. Not from Blender. Right now, it's actually reading from the program stored in the robot. And again, you can remotely save these ones. And remember that if you don't have a software like point loader or similar, you're going to be limited to the amount of points or KUKA CNC. So my advice is you can use the run toolpath. Again, it has not been stress tested, but it should be good enough for now for testing. If you have any questions, please reach out. Um, thank you.